Hello and welcome our passionate audience again on the platform of India Bolega with your hosts Sneha, Aditya and Poorvi. Hey, what's going around you? Snowfall? Decorations? Christmas tree? A wait for a Santa? Or smell of a plum cake? Sounds amazing. Well, anyway, we are here today with another podcast with 30 unknown facts you've never known about Christmas. So let's begin with the bless of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Christmas wasn't always on December 25. While Christmas celebrates the birth of Jesus Christ, there's no mention of December 25 in the Bible. Most historians actually posit that Jesus was born in the spring, and his birthday itself didn't become the official holiday until the 3rd century. Some historians believe the date was actually chosen because it coincided with the pagan festival of Saturnalia, which honored the agricultural god Saturn with celebrating and gift giving. Evergreens are an ancient tradition. The tradition of Christmas trees goes all the way back to ancient Egyptians and Romans, who marked the winter solstice with evergreens as a reminder that spring would return. So if you decorate with a green tree, wreath or evergreen garland, you are throwing it back, way back. You can thank Prince Albert for your Christmas tree. You might want to brew a cup of tea while trimming your tree this year to pay homage to its origins. When Prince Albert of Germany introduced a tree to his new wife, Queen Victoria of England, it really took off across the pond. A drawing of the couple in front of a Christmas tree appeared in Illustrated London News in 1848, and as we say, the idea went viral. Saint Nick was more generous than jolly. You probably already knew that the idea of Santa Claus came from Saint Nicholas, but the real saint wasn't a bearded man who wore a red suit. That all came much later. According to legend, the 4th century Christian bishop gave away his abundant inheritance to help the needy and rescued women from servitude. His name was Sinterklaas in Dutch, which later morphed into Santa Claus. The rest of the trappings followed. Coca-Cola played a part in Santa's image. Before Coca-Cola got in on it, Santa used to look a little less jolly, even spooky. It wasn't until 1931 when the beverage company hired an illustrator named Haddon Sundblom for magazine ads that we got the jolly old elf. Now, kids won't get nightmares when they dream of Christmas Eve.
Hanging stockings started by accident. According to legend, we hang stockings by the chimney with care thanks to a poor man who didn't have enough money for his 3 daughters' dowries. Generous old Saint Nick dropped a bag of gold down their chimney one night where the girls had hung their stockings to dry. That's where the gold ended up and how the tradition began. Rudolph was a marketing play. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer first appeared in 1939 when the Montgomery Ward department store asked one of its copywriters to create a Christmas story the store could give away as a promotional gimmick. The store had been giving away coloring books for years and decided to make its own to save money. Christmas wreaths are Christ symbols. The Christmas wreath originated as a symbol of Christ. The holly represents the crown of thorns Jesus wore at his crucifixion, and the red berries symbolize the blood he shed. So when you see a wreath this season, you'll remember the reason for the season. Jingle Bells was originally a Thanksgiving song. Turns out, we were originally dashing through the snow for an entirely different holiday. James Lord Pierpont wrote a song called One Horse Open Sleigh for his church Thanksgiving concert. Then in 1857, the song was republished under the title It Still Holds Today, and it eventually became one of the most popular Christmas songs. Astronauts broadcast Jingle Bells from space. This prank almost went too far. 9 days before Christmas in 1965, the 2 astronauts aboard Gemini 6 sent an odd report to Mission Control that they saw an unidentified flying object about to enter Earth's atmosphere, traveling in the polar orbit from north to south. They interrupted the tense report with the sound of jingle bells as Valis Kyra played a small harmonica accompanied by Tom Stafford on a handful of small sleigh balls they had smuggled aboard.
Celebrating Christmas used to be illegal. By the time Puritans settled in Boston, celebrating Christmas had been outlawed. From 1659 to 1681, anyone caught making merry would face a fine for celebrating. After the Revolutionary War, the day was so unimportant that Congress even held the first session on December 25, 1789. Christmas wasn't proclaimed a federal holiday for almost another century, proving that the Grinch's notorious hatred of the holiday was alive and well long before he was. Settlers created the first American eggnog. The Jamestown settlers created the first American batch of eggnog. Although it may not have tasted quite the way we know and love today, the word nog comes from the word grog, or any drink made with rum. So technically an early nog didn't require the rich milky base we now ladle out of grandma's cut crystal punch bowl. Christmas decorating sends nearly 50,000 people to the ER. If you have ever watched Clark Griswold decorate his house in the Christmas vacation, that probably doesn't come as much of a surprise. In fact, the Consumer Product Safety Commission estimates that 14,700 people visit hospital emergency room each November and December from holiday-related decorating accidents. So please be careful when you're decking your halls. Santa has his own Canadian postal code. Oh wow! Every year, letters to Santa Claus flood post offices across the world, forcing parents to find a way to answer them or explain to the kiddos why the letter got lost in the mail. Cementing the reputation as one of the nicest countries around, some big-hearted Canadian post office workers started writing back. As the program took off, they set up a special postcard for Santa as part of Santa Letter Writing Program initiative. Ho ho! Dry Christmas trees spark more than joy. For the love of Christmas, don't forget to water your tree. Dried out Christmas trees sparks about 100 fires each year, cause an average of 10 deaths and result in $15.7 million in property damage. The Consumer Product Safety Commission reports. Not only will an errant spark ruin your holiday, it can put both you and responding firefighters in danger.
We ship a ton of packages at the holidays. Between Thanksgiving and New Year's Day last year, the US Postal Service delivered an estimated 910 million packages in addition to almost 15 billion pieces of mail. That includes gifts for faraway loved ones, cards, letters to Santa, and those dreaded credit card bills after we put our holiday purchases on plastic. The term Xmas dates back to the 1500s. Think Xmas is a newly nefarious attempt to take Christ out of Christmas? Think again. According to From Adam's Apple to Xmas, an essential vocabulary guide for the politically correct, Christianity was spelled Xyanity as far back as 1100. X or Chi in Greek is the first letter of Christ and served as a symbolic stand. In 1551, the holiday was called Xmas but eventually shortened to Xmas. In reality, Xmas is just as Christian as the longer version. The majority of Americans celebrate Christmas. It may feel like Christmas is everywhere you turn from October right on through New Year's. And those decorations hit stores earlier every year. That's partially because most Americans really do Jingle Bell rock their way right through the season. Over 90% of us, not all of those celebrate it as a religious holiday though. Just about half of Americans attend Christmas services, If church seems a little sparse on Christmas Eve, there may be a reason for that. The Pew Research Center found that fewer people think of Christmas as a religious holiday these days. Only 51% of people who celebrate attend church on Christmas. It didn't say what percentage of those only go on Christmas and Easter. Americans spend nearly $1,000 on gifts. According to the National Retail Federation's 2017 data, consumers spend an average of $967.13 for the holidays, although individual spending can vary widely. In 2018, total retail sales in November and December hit a staggering $717.45 billion.
Mistletoe is an aphrodisiac. The holiday flora is an ancient symbol of fertility and vitality, and the Druids considered it an aphrodisiac. So keep that in mind next time someone jokes about meeting you under the mistletoe. Mistletoe's name isn't as sweet. The name itself even has a meaning that might not inspire as many warm fuzzies. However, mistle thrush birds eat the plant berries, digest the seeds, and then droppings eventually grow into new plants. So Germanic word for mistletoe literally means dung on a twig. Buckle up! Ham ranks as the festive favorite. Wow. Some families cook up a turkey for Christmas dinner, others go for ham, and still more go roast steak and a leg of lamb or another protein in the oven. Google searches for ham and turkey both spiked during the month of December. According to Google Trends data, despite the popularity of both festive entries, spiral cut ham remains the most popular choice for Christmas table. The jury is still out on whether people prefer ham or turkey sandwiches the day after, though. Candy canes originated in Germany. The National Confectioners Association says a choir master originally gave the candies to young children to keep them quiet during long church services. Grandmas who still dole out sweets during droning sermons. You have got on history on your side, but it wasn't until a German-Swedish immigrant decorated history with candy canes in 1847 that they became popular as a Christmas candy. The Rockefeller Christmas tree started small. The first tree at Rockefeller Center probably looked more like Charlie Brown's than the resplendent one today. Construction workers at the site first placed a small undecorated tree while working there in 1931. 2 years later, another tree appeared in its place. This time with lights, it grew and grew from there. Nowadays, the giant Rockefeller Center tree bears more than 25,000 twinkling lights and is visited by millions of selfie takers each season.
Washington Irving created many Santa legends. You may know Washington Irving, best for the legend of Sleepy Hollow and his headless horseman. But he wrote a lot about St. Nicholas too. In fact, he bestowed 8 tiny reindeers on the big man. He loved Santa Claus so much that in 1835, he helped found the St. Nicholas Society of the city of New York, serving as its secretary until 1841. Norway provides the tree in Trafalgar Square. Londoners and visitors probably know that the iconic spruce that stretches to the sky in Trafalgar Square each year, but few realize where it comes from. Every year since 1947, the people of Norway have gifted the trees to the people of London. They donated the tree in gratitude for Britain's support for Norway during World War II. Now that's what we call goodwill toward men. This Christmas gift held a life-saving secret. During World War II, the United States playing card company joined forces with American and British intelligence, a genius to create a very special deck of cards. They gave them out as Christmas gifts that also helped Allied prisoners of war escape from German POW camps. Individual cards peeled apart when moistened to reveal maps of escape routes. Sometimes Truth really is stronger than fiction. Your Christmas tree likely traveled a bit. Unless you cut it yourself, your fresh Christmas tree probably spent weeks out of the ground before it made it to your local retailer. And there's likely no hiking into the woods to get it either. 98% of American trees today grow on farms, mostly in California, Oregon, Michigan, Washington, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and North Carolina, the country's top Christmas tree producing states. Tinsel has a storied history. Tinsel was invented in 1610 in Germany and was originally spun from real silver, making it far from the chintzy decoration it is now. It also has an edgy history. The US government banned tinsel because it contained poisonous lead. But never fear, now it's made of plastic. However, you should still use caution if you have pets or small children, since it's still harmful if swallowed. What is Christmas without Jesus Christ? It's a holiday full of stuff. Money and stress, teaching kids greed. Some people are saying enough. Love one another, our Savior said. It's all about love, not things. Let's teach our children to serve and create the real joy the true Christmas brings.